Hi, my name is Sean, and welcome to Let's Play. The game we're going to play today is called Star Realms by White Wizard Games LLC, which is an obvious nod to Wizards of the Coast. And that's important because this is a card combat, puzzle type 1v1 game. Think of it as a very dumbed down, casual version game of Magic the Gathering. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off by starting an AI game. You see we have easy, medium, hard. We'll go with easy. And here we go, the start of the game. A little bit of background on the game. The mechanics, this is a 4-color card game. You can choose between the different colors. You can play all the colors, but it's a good idea to try to choose only a couple colors, maybe even as many as 3 out of 4 that work off of each other as combos, because they're often the same color. So if you look here as a good example, flagship here, you see in the top right, it costs 6 to bring out. It does 5 combat. And if you have a blue card out, you'll see here it has the blue here. Then you will gain 5 reputation, which is like your life in this game. So basic mechanics here is you have a certain amount of life here, 50 for him, 50 for me. You have a certain amount of trade that you produce each turn, which is the yellow bit here, and a certain amount of combat you do each turn, which is the red bit here. There are 2 types of cards generally. They are ships and bases. Ships come out for 1 turn when you play them out of your hand, as you can see here. I have them down here. These are all ships. And bases are persistent turn to turn unless they're destroyed. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. Everyone starts in the beginning of the game with a bunch of scouts, which produce 1 trade, as you see here. And you're also provided with a couple to a few vipers, which do 1 combat per turn. Now these are the least valuable cards in the game, and it's important later to understand that as you try to build your deck by paying for these cards, we'll go ahead and play all now, that when you buy them, you're also looking to thin out some cards you don't want. Now the most important mechanics of the game here, we have your trade, which allows you to buy the bigger cards and put them in your deck so you can play them, and deck manipulation. Now I believe drawing cards is the most important part of the game. If you see here, this yellow card, Star Empire, it provides you 1 trade, which is nice because you want to start off by getting as much trade as you can, but it also allows you to draw a card. You see here it says draw a card. This is incredibly important. So I'm going to go ahead and buy that one. It leaves me with 1. I can't do anything with it. I'm going to double tap on my opponent for my 1 combat. You'll see the red is 1 combat, and I do 1 damage to him, and we end the turn. Now each of these colors has different strengths and weaknesses. Now you've got the yellow cards, and the yellow cards are really good at deck manipulation and damage, and they also have this other thing where they can make your opponent discard cards, which can be important. I'm going to go ahead and play all here. Now, so I have red cards. Now this is an odd red card that has an odd effect, but generally red cards are very good at thinning out your deck. They get rid of the cards you don't want. For instance, the scouts and the vipers. So let's see, what can we get for 4? Well, we're going to ship or a base. Now I'm going to click on my discard to see what kind of cards I bought. I bought a yellow card, a survey ship, and you want to try to pair up the colors, but some cards that are just this good you don't really bother with trying to pair them up. They're just good, so you just buy them, period. The best ship I could see that I can afford at the moment is a Blob Destroyer, because you'll see if I have another green card out, and you see there, this is why you want to pair them up. If I've got another green card out, then I can destroy one of the opponent's bases or scrap a card in the trade row, and this is the trade row here, so maybe there's a card that I think that he's going to want or get, and I can keep him from getting it. So I've played them all. I've got 4. I'm buying the Blob Destroyer. I'm going to do my little 1 damage, end turn. Okay, we've also got other colors, so we've said the yellow cards, which are good at deck manipulation and damage. You can make people discard. And then, of course, we got the red cards, and they're very good at making you thin out your deck. They do a lot of damage, and they do a little bit of trade production. We've also got blue cards. Look at the blue card here. And their strengths are generally healing and trade production. And they do a little bit of deck manipulation. This one in particular is, a flagship. It's a big ship, so those tend to be a little different than the average ships of a color. And the green ones, the blob, they do a lot of damage. They do a lot of deck manipulation. And secondarily, they produce some trade. So let's play everything we've got, see what we got going here. Okay, we've got 3 trade to work with and 7 damage. Let's see what color cards we've been working with so far. Again, nothing really. So we're going to try to go with the best thing we can. And right now, actually, I think it's best to just do that. Let's take the Explorer, which we can scrap to do damage. You see a little trash can, we can scrap it, and it produces 2 trade. Let's do our damage and then turn. So you want to get a good mix of cards in your deck. You want to try to stick to a couple colors if you can, but some things can only be done with certain colors. Like, I'll zoom in on this missile bot. You may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile. Important for thinning the garbage cards out of your deck, but doesn't mean that you have to pair it up with a bunch of stuff. It's just good as it is. Some cards are just that way, like the ones that make you draw cards. They're very important. If you can get them, you just take them. And this one here produces 3 trade. It's good, whether you're going to pair it or not. You just take it. So, and turn. And I like how the game gives you a little bit of a warning if you've got something left over you haven't used. Because as a casual game, sometimes you're sort of doing it on the fly. You might make a small mistake. Now, as I said, deck manipulation is very important. You see here we have a deck manipulation card. Going to play it, get what we get. We didn't get much of anything, but it'll become important down the road because you might pull some super big bad ship to beat them up with. So I got 4 trade to work with. I'll go ahead and grab another one of these cards here that lets me scrap bad cards. That leaves me 2 more. I'll go ahead and grab some more trade. I'm going to do my 7 damage and end turn. Okay, let's see what we've got now. You see I've got a green card down there in the bottom. It's going to provide more trade so I can maybe buy something bigger. And I've got this red card, which you basically want to play first. And that's going to let me to go into my discard pile here and get rid of the least valuable ship is the Viper. Next to that, I think, is the one that produces the 1 trade known as the Scout. So I got rid of it. I'm going to go ahead and play the rest of them, see what I can buy. I've got 6. I have enough to buy this battle cruiser or a flagship. So battle cruiser, pretty powerful. If I got another yellow out, it lets me make them discard a card. I get to draw a card, it does damage. This one I get to draw a card. If I got a blue card out, it heals me. So let's look and see of the cards I've got, what colors I have, which one matches up better. So here I've got a yellow. And here I've got nothing. So let's go ahead and go with the yellow one. Do my damage and turn. And one thing I like about this game is, unlike Magic the Gathering, this isn't some long drawn out thing. It's a casual game. You can just pause it. I'm playing it on the easy level right now, just for the sake of this Let's Play video, but generally I play the harder level, a bit more of a thinking person's game. It's kind of like a puzzle game in a way a lot of ones aren't. I'm going to go ahead and scrap this guy for the damage. I like to just get him out of my deck as soon as I can. Okay, I've got 5 to work with, which doesn't let me buy the flagship, sadly. Doesn't let me buy much of anything. So I'm going to buy the one that's just only worth 1, just hopefully opens up a card I can use. This one lets me draw a card if I got more greens out, so I'll go ahead and give him a shot. And look at that, a survey ship, another one. Best card in the game. I'll go ahead and take it. Now you see he's got a base up. Bases are persistent. Now you see the shield is closed in, which means I don't have to go through that base to do any damage to him. So I'm just going to go do the damage to him. But if I could, I would get rid of that. Now, if it's an open shield card, then I have to do at least that much damage to destroy the base before I could do any damage to that person. So let's end turn, see what we got here. As you can see, I've got one of those yellow supply ships. I'll get to draw a card, and you can understand where if you get a bunch of those, you could start really rolling out big ships in a big way, doing a lot of damage to people. Sadly, not just yet. So I'm going to play them all, see what I've got. I've got enough to buy the flagship. Who doesn't want a flagship? I've got 1 left. I'll go ahead and buy the red card so that I can mill through my deck better. I'll do my damage and then turn. I'm going to try basically to just run through this and see if I can beat this opponent as fast as possible. Now he's got a base out. Remember that green card I pulled, which allows me to destroy a base if I have another green card out. But I don't have another green card to pair with it. This is why it's important to try to match them up. So I'm going to go ahead and discard a card I don't want, like a Viper, using that red card. And I'll go ahead and bring up the rest. I'll play them all. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and scrap this one to do the damage. Now I've got, you'll see here, I've got 10 combat. So with a 10 combat, I'm going to go ahead and double tap the base and destroy the base. So he doesn't have a base. And the important part about that base is it's a green card, so any green cards he brings out, he gets whatever their secondary effect is, like this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and buy what I can for 4. I'm going to buy the freighter because it gives you 4 trade, which is pretty important. It has a secondary effect about taking the next ship you buy and putting on top of your deck, which is pretty nice because you get it the next turn, but I'm not so much worried about that as just getting some more energy. Okay, looks like my battle cruiser came up, which is good. That's going to make me pretty powerful this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that card. He's got me down to 4. I'm in trouble. Oh, looks like I might lose this one. I'll go ahead and use it and get rid of the Viper anyway, because you never know, you might live. Play the rest. I'm going to go ahead and destroy the base. See how it's an empty shield? If you see it's an empty shield, that means I have to do at least that 4 if I'm going to do any damage to that person. So I have to destroy it. I'll do that. And I see that the card was flashing, so if I trash this, I could draw a card and destroy a target base. Maybe I should have done that. Bad play on my part. But I'm going to go ahead and draw the card anyway because I'm desperate. And I got nothing I can really use. So let's go ahead and buy this, do the damage. I'm about to lose. But I promise you, this is a super fun game. You can play it really quickly. It's easy to pause. It's a simple little puzzle game. I like it better than other puzzle games because it's an element of a much bigger game, and you get to sort of play a Magic the Gathering light, which is, to my mind, a lot of fun. Certainly casual. Well, enjoy it, gamers. I hope you pick it up. It's free to play. It's pretty cheap to bring up to the maximum version. So this is me signing off, and good luck. Good gaming.